chair, both feet on the floor, hands on your knees, with a sense of groundedness through your feet and your hips, equally connected in your chair and equally pressing into the ground. Sometimes we're kind of slouched to one side, so sitting up nice and tall. And then imagine the crown of your head reaching to the sky, growing long through your spine. And then notice if you are kind of leaning forward in your chair or if you're rounded and leaning back. And in either case, try to sit up tall. Sometimes we don't realize that our pelvis is tilted forward and our chest is leading. So we want everything aligned, hips, shoulders, ears, all aligned. And then take some deeper breaths. Notice any sensations in your body as you take these deep breaths, and maybe close your eyes. Allow your next breath to come in naturally and extend your exhale longer. And on the next inhale, again, a nice, long, soft, smooth exhale. And do that one more time. Bring to mind your intention. And if you're not sure what your intention is today, you could use one of mine, like I am healing, I am whole, I am enough, and whatever your intention is, say it to yourself 3 times with feeling. Blink your eyes open, and we'll start to move. Let's start with some shoulder circles, lifting one shoulder and then the other, rolling them back, and then maybe starting to lift the elbows if you want to go a little deeper, or straight arms. Notice if there's, one hand, one arm moving through this smoother than the other. Bring your arms down by your sides, pause, maybe shake your hands out, and go the other direction. So shoulder lifts and then the other, keeping it right there, or lifting the elbows, or straight arms. Imagine you're swimming, beautiful blue sky, blue-green water. And rest your arms again, shake them out. Take a deep breath. Bring your hands up in front of you, making fists, kind of squeezing your hands, and then shoot your hands out, stretching your fingers wide. Bring those fists in again. If there's something you want to let go of, like fear or frustration, imagine what it is, and then shoot it out. And you can make a sound. Make those fists, pull it in, and then you can just let it go, let it out. Fists, and let it out. Fists, and one more time. Fists, and shoot it out. Let it go. Woo. And just bring your hands down by your sides again. Let's get into some movement in the feet, moving your heels, lifting one and then the other. Feel into your toes. pressing your toes into the ground. Also spread your toes out. Make sure all of your toes are active in this movement. And then setting your heels down and tapping one foot and then the other, or lifting those toes up, back and forth. And then we'll turn that into one heel lifting and the other toes lifting and rolling through the soles of the feet. Back and forth. Nice. And then bringing your feet to stillness, extend one leg out and bend. Extend, grip those muscles around your knee and your quad, and then bend to see if you can pull your foot underneath your chair, or if you have rungs there, to the side of your chair, and feel your hamstrings start to turn on. So extend and bend. A few more times. Notice how your knee is feeling. Hold your leg out there and take some ankle circles. Other direction. Keep sitting up nice and tall. Point and flex your foot. And then keep your foot flexed, but turn your foot out to the side. And see if you can feel that motion coming all the way up to your hip. And then turn your toes in and feel that from your hip. Turning your toes out and in, out and in. Good. Set your foot down. Bring that knee in and out a few times just to release that tension in your hip. And we'll go over to the other leg, extending and bending a few times. Really squeezing the muscles in each direction. So your quads and your knee when you're extending, and then the hamstrings when you bend and pull it under or to the side. Extend your leg out, keep it out there, and take some ankle circles, drawing a big circle with your big toe. And the other direction. And pointing and flexing your foot. And then keep your foot flexed and tip your toes out to the side. See if you can feel your femur coming out to the side, and then bringing them in to midline, out to the side, into the center. Hi, Rosemary. Out to the side, into the center, and out, and release. Bring your knee in and out a few times. Good. Come back over to the other knee. We'll take some circles through the hip. Just lifting that knee up and around. Switch direction. Good. And then go ahead and pick your knee up. Pull your ankle over your other knee. For figure four, and remember the angle of your knee is wherever it feels good for you. And go ahead and massage your leg, your foot, toes. And stay with, if there's a spot that feels tense and tight, stay with it. Like really work into it. Take this time. As you're doing that, if you want to lean further forward, feel free. Maybe chin to chest. You can also rock slowly side to side to find maybe a better angle for your body. This is a really good sciatica stretch. Especially if you can kind of find where it shouldn't be painful, it shouldn't be shooting. So if any kind of shooting pain or anything like that, if it's getting worse, then you need to back off, okay? Maybe even set your foot down. Sometimes readjusting, going back into it will work. And then inhale as you lift up, nice and tall, and rock your knees side to side a few times. And go ahead and set your foot down, and you can take those little tapping movements or extend your leg out to release the tension. Come over to the other side. Knee comes in and out, or taking those hip circles. And the other direction. Good. And then lifting your knee up, crossing your ankle over. Scoot your hips back in your chair. And take your time massaging, kind of exploring, see what needs some love on this side. I went for a long hike yesterday, so my feet are, they need a little extra today. And then maybe leaning forward if you want to take that deeper stretch. Maybe bringing your chin to your chest. And again, kind of leaning to one side or the other, just to see if there is a better spot. You know, maybe coming up and leaning, or going forward and leaning. Yeah, it's going to be individual. So what's right in your body or my body might be different for somebody else. But this is typically known as a really good low back pain and sciatica, specifically sciatica stretch. Take another deep breath, try to release some tension. And then inhale as you rise up and rock your knee a few times. Good. Step your foot down and take any movements that kind of release that tension. A little tap, 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 or extend and bend. Let's go back up to the upper body. And sitting up nice and tall, so you're kind of in the middle of your chair, not leaning into the back of your chair. So inhale, reaching your arms up. Exhale into cactus. And hold that. Pull your elbows back a little bit. See if you can find a little bit more strength on your upper back. So you're engaging those shoulders. And then inhale, reaching up. Bring your hands down to your knees, round your spine. So now you're opening up through those shoulder blades. And allow the shoulders to come forward as you do this. So we're kind of in a cat, but more focused on the upper back. And then inhale, sitting up nice and tall. Sweep your arms up. Exhale, cactus, pulling your shoulders back to engage your shoulder blades together. And then inhale, reaching up. Starting to release those shoulder blades. Sweep your hands down, round your chin to your chest, and allow the shoulders to come forward, kind of puffing up through your upper back area. Sit up nice and tall. We're going to do that one more time. So sweeping the arms up. Exhale into cactus. Pull your elbows back. Feel that tension on your upper back. Not so much that there's any pinching or pain though. And then inhale, sweeping your arms up. Float your hands forward. Round the upper back, chin to chest. And maybe even kind of tip your head a little to one side and then the other. Finding a release and a stretch through the upper back and neck area. Sit up nice and tall, coming into cow or howling coyote. And if you want to howl or moo, feel free. And then we'll round the whole spine, so all the way down to your tailbone. Chin to chest, your pelvis is tipping back so that your tailbone is coming close to the seat or maybe touching the seat. And releasing the whole back. You can say meow. And then inhale, lifting up to cow and howling coyote. Pulling the elbows and shoulders back, chin lifts. Maybe howling or mooing. And then releasing again into cat. Rounding your back, chin to chest. Inhale, sitting up nice and tall. All right, so still away from the back of your chair. Inhale, reaching your arms up to the side. And then opening up to one side. So your front hand is to your knee like we normally do in our spinal twist. But this is where we're going to do another gentle somatic yoga movement. So notice where your hands are. This is our pre-check. And you want to do the same hand position in your post-check. So you're going to look as far back as you can. Close your back eye. And then mark how far back you can look with the eye that's in front to the inner edge of where the bridge of your nose is. So see how far back you can look. Good, and then just release, come back to center, reach your arms up, and float your hands down. Okay, so come back into that same hand position, sitting up nice and tall, and you're going to keep so bring your back hand, bring your chin, or your hand to your chin and your chest. So you're going to keep your chin right in line with your chest, as you twist your torso back. And then slowly come forward and kind of relax. So keep this alignment of chin toward your chest. And then sitting up nice and tall, twisting to the side and seeing if you can go a little bit further. You can add the pressure with your hand if you want to. But keep that chin right over your chest. And then slowly release and round your spine as you come forward. Just releasing some of that tension. Inhale, lifting up. We'll do that one more time. So looking to the side, but keep your chin right over your chest and try to go a little bit farther. And then coming forward, rounding your spine. So we're going to change this up, sitting up nice and tall. Bring your hands to that first position, wherever they were in the first position. And you're going to sit up nice and tall, but now you're going to focus on your neck. So turning your neck to look back as far as it can, and looking back with your eyes as far as you can, but now turn your eyes, only your eyes, to look forward. And then slowly release and come forward. You can round your spine again if that feels good. And then sitting up tall, twisting to look back, looking back with your head. So really focusing more on the neck, looking back as far as you can with your eyes. And then just move your eyes to look as far forward as you can. And looking around, you can blink. And slowly release. So, like I said, this gentle somatic movement is slow. So keep your position right where you are. We're going to do a post check. So bring your hands to that pre-check position again. And now, see how far you can look back. So for me, so hopefully you were able to go a little bit further back. For me, I was able to see the very edge of this sun on my pre-check, and then at the post-check, I could see almost to the other edge of the sun. So that was, you know, several, I don't know what that angle, that degree of angle is, but that increased. So we're going to go over to the other side. Inhale, sweeping your arms up, and then opening up to the other side. So make sure you're in a similar position, front hand to your opposite knee, back hand just maybe gripping to your chair. Look back as far as you can without pinching or pain. Close the back eye, and then see how far back you can look. And just release that, come forward, because that's kind of a big stretch the first time. All right, so inhale, reaching your arms up. Let's reset and open up to the other side. Same hand position, but bring that back hand to your chest and your chin to keep your chin and your chest aligned. We're focusing on the lower part of the spine and twisting back, using your torso muscles to twist as far as you can without pain. And then slowly release, coming forward, rounding your spine. Take a breath. Sitting up tall. We'll do that again. So hand to your front hand to your opposite knee. Back hand is aligning your chin over your chest as you twist back, maybe a little bit further. Sitting up tall and breathing. And then slowly release, rounding your spine, or just kind of slouching, letting go of that tension. And we'll do that one more time. Sit up tall, chin to your chest, hand to your chin and your chest. Other hand on the outside of your knee, and twist back as far as you can. Hopefully it feels a little bit better each time. And slowly release. Okay, so this time we're doing more of the neck and the eye movements with it. So go ahead and find your twist, and it should be comfortable through your torso. You don't have to be cranking on your torso, but looking back more with your neck, and then looking back with your eyes even further. And maybe open your eyes wide, and then just your eyes move to look forward as far as they can, even though your neck is still twisted toward the back. Slowly release. Slowly and smoothly go ahead and round the spine, or maybe the neck. Chin comes to chest. Sit up tall. Let's do that again. Looking off to the side, but then keep the neck moving back. Again, not so much that you're straining or there's any pain. Looking back as far as you can. And then shift just the eyes to look forward. And release. Coming forward. Take any wiggling movement that might feel good, or rounding your spine again. And I know we did it 3 times on the other side, but let's just do 2. Sometimes the brain learns on the first side, and then it transfers it easier to the other side. So for the sake of time, let's just do our post check. So make sure your hands are in that same position. Sit up tall, and now see how far you can look back when you close that back eye. And then just release. Good, and then just kind of let all that tension go. Take a little wiggle through your torso. Bring your feet out a little bit wider, and just for some support, reach those arms out to the sides. Maybe reaching all the way up. Bring one hand or forearm down to the leg as you take a side stretch. Reaching way over, opening through that side of the body. Breathing into that side of your rib cage. And then reach your hand up, and then sit up nice and tall. Bring your other hand down to your knee, reaching way over. Opening up those intercostal muscles, the muscles between your reaching up and bring your arms out wide, opening up, kind of pull your hands back if you can. And bring your hands to your knees. Take a few more shoulder circles, just releasing that tension. Good. And bring the shoulders up towards your ears. We'll do the gentle somatic shoulder shrugs after we kind of heated this area up. And slowly release your shoulders down, letting your brain and your body reconnect here. So bring those shoulders up again. Hold it for 3 seconds and slowly release the tension. Notice, how is that in your body today? And bring the shoulders up. And go halfway this time. Just halfway, allowing your shoulders to just pause at that halfway point. And then try to smooth out that second half. Ooh, that's the hard one for me. And we'll do that one more time. Shoulders up towards your ears. You gotta keep changing this up so the brain has to keep thinking what's going on. And then slowly let your shoulders down halfway, or you pick a point where you want to stop. And then go the rest of the way. Relax at the bottom. Just rest your hands on your knees and tip your head forward. Feel the stretch in the back of your neck. Bring your head back up to center. Look over one shoulder as far as you can. Sitting up tall. Look back to center and look over in the other direction. Looking around. Bring your head back to center and rock side to side. And we're going to do this little movement that moves through the hips and the pelvis. So I like to use my hands here, just kind of scooch one forward. But basically what's happening with my legs is one knee is going forward and one is coming back. And then the opposite direction. And you can keep that moving side to side. And again, you can slow it down if you really want to feel that engagement into the muscles. And this is really the walking motion that happens in our hips. So we're going to turn to one side, and so you can hang on to the back of your chair with one hand. And then bring your other hand to the seat of your chair. This front leg is going to kind of slide back, and it's, the farther back you can get it, it doesn't have to be straight, like my knee's still bent, but the farther back you can get it, the more you can feel it into the hip flexors. And I also like to lean forward so both hands are on the seat of my chair as I press that leg back. And I know this is a big stretch. Also, my heel is lifted. I know that's not accessible, I guess, for everybody. You could try it with your leg out to the side, with your foot out to the side like this, but that's a totally different stretch. So the one that I'm trying to go for is stretching the psoas muscle. And you can just bring your knee down and step forward. And we'll slowly turn. Pivot on your chair to go over to the other side. Hang on with one hand to the back of your chair. The other hand can start by hanging on to the seat of your chair, and maybe you slide your foot back. Maybe this is as far as you can get, but notice if you can feel it right here in your hip. That might be enough of a stretch, but if you can, lean forward, bring your hands to the seat of your chair, and see if you can slide your foot back even further. And keeping that back heel lifted. So this is a lunge. In yoga, it's called a crescent lunge. You might also feel it in your toes, or your ankle, or some other areas. And then slowly release, bringing your knee forward, and sitting up tall and then facing forward. hands. Let's do a little bit of hand movement. And I want to do the starfish push-ups with a little bit of vocalization at the same time. So as we press the palms away, remember, keep a connection between your fingertips. Keep pressing your fingertips together because that's strengthening your fingers and your wrists, okay? And then, so we're gonna say a couple of vowels. Let's say A and E. So when our hands press away, let's say A. When they come back together, let's say E. And then A and E. Now let's go I and O and U. Nice job. Shake the hands out. Wiggle your fingers. Ooh, I got my hands tired. And then bring your hands back to heart center. Clasp your hands. Press your hands down. Ooh, I have a ring on. Okay, adjust that. Press your hands down, feeling that stretch. Sit up tall. Take a deep breath. Bring your hands back to your heart. And then press them forward, or just a different angle if you can. Bring them back to your heart. And one more. So I like to change up the cross of my hands. If you can do that, bring the other thumb in front. And then try pressing them either up higher or wherever your shoulders will allow. Nice. Bring your hands back and let them go. Then bring your hands out and then bring your fingertips to your shoulders. So reaching out, bending the elbows, fingers to shoulders, reaching out, spreading your fingers wide. Bring your fingers to your shoulders. One more time. Spread your fingers wide, extend your arms. Fingers touch your shoulders. Now bring your elbows together and elbows out. Bring your elbows together and out. Elbows together and out. And then this time, bring your elbows together so you can lift your elbows and lower and release. Bring your hands to your knees. Make sure your knees are kind of out wide. And we're going to lean forward. See how that feels. Keep your chest lifted though. Try not to round your spine when you lean forward. So leaning forward, and then use your deep core abdominals to help you rise up and kind of lean back. If you feel like your chair, the back of your chair is right there, maybe scooch forward a little bit in your chair. So as you lean forward, so I want you to feel a stretch down into maybe your hips, your low back. And then as you rise up and lean back, that you're using your abdominals to kind of hold you, maybe even hold you away from the back of your chair. So let's do that again. Leaning forward as far as feels good, and then leaning back and trying to hold it for a moment. Inhale as you lift yourself up and lean forward. And leaning back. Good. Make sure your feet are really solidly placed. And as you lean forward, maybe lift your arms up. So this is a chair in a chair. The chair pose in a chair. Good. So just holding that. It's a nice, strong, you could always bring your hands to heart center or even cactus your arms. Breathing, and then lean back. You can bring your hands either to your knees or hands to heart center. Holding that, and then go ahead and lean forward. Again, finding your arm position. And then hands come to your knees or heart center and lean back and try to hold. So you should be feeling some good work going on in your deep core muscles. One more time. Leaning forward, Hands to heart center or reaching them high. You're still pressing your feet into the ground, okay? And then leaning back, hands to heart center or hands on your lap as I'm barely touching the back of my chair. And then sit up nice and tall, take a deep breath. Bring your knees in and out a few times, releasing some of that stretch that we just, or that muscular engagement that we just did. Bring your feet out wide, scoot your hips back in your chair. Let's take more of an inner thigh stretch. So either elbows can come to your knees, you can stay right there. Or you could maybe slide your hands down to your ankles, hold on to your feet, or bring your hands to the floor or block. And especially if you get lightheaded or dizzy, keep your head lifted. Otherwise, you could maybe lower your head down for more of a forward fold. Breathe, full, complete breaths. On your inhale, just lift your head and then maybe bring your elbows to your knees. Take your time rising up. Let's go toward standing. I wanted to spend a little bit more time on the floor again today. So go ahead into those rocking forward and back movements. Feet planted, and make sure that you're good with coming up to standing today. And we'll just take some of those little lifts out of your chair, maybe 5 to 10 of those, lifting and lowering. And you can always keep your hands on your knees, or if you want to try keeping your hands reaching out as you lift and lower. A little extra challenge, maybe 1 or 2 more. And when you are ready, let's go to slowly to standing. So make sure that your space is clear before you move. You can shift a little side to side. And eventually come to the back of your chair or the side of your chair, either way. Nice. We'll do 1 or 2 balance things before we start to. We'll do some leg stretches and then go down to the floor. So for balance today, let's first go up onto our toes. And I have big toe pain, probably bunions that want to form, but I'm working on them. And I was doing this the other day, and I noticed that it just really helped my feet feel better. As I lifted my heels up, instead of staying on the balls of my feet, I pressed the pads of my toes into the ground, kind of gripped the ground and then lowered. Did that a few times, and at first it hurt a little bit, but then it was like magic. It kind of melted away that pain for me the other day. So just lifting up on your toes, you can experiment if you want to with pressing the pads of your toes instead of the balls of your feet, the pads of your toes into the ground and then lowering. When you do lower, especially if you were holding up on your toes, then just lift your toes up, maybe wiggle them a little bit, or you could even stand on one foot, wiggle the other foot. Good. And so that's obviously balance, just coming up onto our toes and back to the heels. And then let's take a tree pose. So bringing your weight into one foot and the other heel could come to the inner part of your leg, or maybe you slide your foot up to your calf. Of course, you know, if you really have the ability to go into be able to go into this taller tree, I don't know if it's taller, but higher pose, you can do that. So either hanging on while you're doing this, or maybe finding balance, maybe growing some tree branches. And I like the little wiggly fingers for the leaves. Nice. And then stepping your foot out. And we'll come over to the other side. Slowly. Also see if you can find a focal point. Something to look at that's not moving to help you really focus into your balance. And so maybe sliding the foot up. Maybe the arms grow into branches. Anywhere you want. You can find stillness with the arms, or you can kind of let them blow in the breeze for an extra challenge. Maybe wiggle those fingers. Good. And then floating everything down with control. So always trying to step out with control. And if you don't, like if you kind of fall out, then just come back into it and retrain your brain to be able to step out with control. So always finishing off well. And then let's take a couple of lunges, stretches for the legs. Extending one leg behind you, bending into the front knee as deep as you can. You'll get a nice stretch on maybe on your your hip flexors. And you can stay there with that, or straighten the front knee and maybe lower to your elbows or hands to the chair, feeling more of a hamstring stretch on that front leg. You can also bend your back knee, and when I do that, I feel a stretch through my calf and my Achilles tendon. Bend your front knee as you rise up and switch feet. Pressing the other heel back. And if you don't feel the stretch, you might need to step further back or go down deeper. Maybe bring your elbows or hands down. Just make sure your chair is not going to roll away on you or slide away. And then maybe straighten that front knee. You can always bring your hands down to the chair. Take a deep breath. Good. And then starting to rise up, bring your feet back together. And I wanted to do one kind of extra movement here with your legs out wide. So my legs are about this wide, but you can adjust yours appropriately. And with your legs out wide, knees might be bent a little bit. So hands are resting on the seat of your chair. And then try to sweep one arm up. You'll get a stretch through your torso, maybe your shoulder. If this is too much in your shoulder, you can always bend your elbow, but still keep stretching. And then bring your hand to the chair and sweep your other arm high, or hand to shoulder. Good. Bring your hand back to the seat of the chair, and you can stay in this wide-legged position for a wide-legged forward fold, or feel free to bring your legs together. Taking some deep breaths. And when you are ready, on an inhale, start to rise up slowly. Make sure you don't feel lightheaded, and make your way back into your chair. Take your time. Make sure you're safe. And when you're seated, just take a couple of breaths and get comfortable for the end of our class. Taking a few moments of constructive rest and allowing yourself to settle and take in everything that we've done in this class. With your eyes closed and your hands resting in your lap, just take a few moments and feel your breath coming in and out of your nose, allowing your breath to bring a sense of calm and release, letting go,